Hello, welcome to episode 17 of Book Read. I'm very excited because, as if by magic, in a couple of seconds, we're going to be pelleting over to Australia, Sydney, in fact, to meet author and fantabulous guy and ex-guest of the Jaden show, Arek Sinanian. You're going to listen to a reading of his book, The Art of Deception, an amazing thriller that you definitely need in your collection. So, tell you what, let's go and meet this episode's fantastic author. Well, Mr. Sinanian, back from the Jaden show. How are you, sir?
Fantastic. It's an early morning here in Sydney. It's winter. It's been very cold, but Sydney's winter is not really winter, not compared to other parts of the world. So yeah, it's good.
It's fresh.
Yeah, I've had my cup of tea. I'm ready to go.
Ready to go. Well, today you're on the show as an author because you've written an amazing book, Art of Deception. I just want to ask you, what was the alignment of planets that got you from becoming an expert on climate change to actually writing a book?
Good question. I've asked that same question to myself. Well, my first book published was on climate change, and that was the culmination, if you like, of all my life's work. That was my profession. But now that I'm retired, I've wanted to do this all my life, Jaden. I have, when you say planets aligning and the stars and all that, I have many interests, and I feel passionately about many aspects of this complex life that we live in. And art and music are fundamentally important to me. And as you can imagine, climate change and art and music that don't quite really align. So my first novel, Art of Deception, is really all about art, and there's a bit of music in it as well. And like everything I do, there is a very strong premise in Art of Deception. The premise is something that runs through the whole story, even though it's not really expressed specifically. And the premise is the importance of art to humanity. I strongly believe that, because particularly in the world we live in today, where money is everything, TikTok is everything, influencers, capitalism, like super capitalism around the world, and important things like philosophy, connecting with each other, music, art. To me, I think we're losing some of that. We're losing some of our humanity. So that was sort of in the back of my mind, and it's always there actually. But then the seed of the story came, of all places, in a classical concert I was at, and I was listening to one of the best orchestras in the world, the Australian Chamber Orchestra. And this guy, the director, was playing this very expensive violin. And I don't know where these things come from, Jaden, but I had this idea of the violin almost being a character in a story, where it had a prominent role in the story. I'm not going to tell you much more, because Art of Deception is a thriller. And there are twists, there is unexpected things that happen. The characters drive the story, and it's a very plot-driven story. Plot-driven in that there's enough there to understand the characters and why they do what they do, and why they don't do what they don't do, etc. And of course, there's a protagonist and an antagonist, and as I said, there's many twists in it. And the whole idea of the stories my writing is it had to be a page turner. I didn't want to, and when I'm reading books or when I'm watching a movie or a TV series that's a thriller, the last thing I want is to be able to predict the ending.
Yes.
So I wanted the ending not to be predictable. I wanted my characters not to be entirely predictable, because that's what creates the twists and the turns and the unexpectedness. So I really enjoyed the journey, Jaden. Writing it was fundamentally important to me, because when I am in that kind of creative mode, you're a creative, you write, you know what it's like to be in that zone, whatever you want to call it. And when I'm in that zone, when I'm just sitting there focusing on the story or character or whatever the plot, I'm in another world, I'm in another realm, and I love it. So
did you have an idea of the ending of the book, or did you literally sit down and go, right, I'm going to channel the author self and I'm just going to write and see what comes out? How did that roll for you? How was that process?
Well, interesting, because I had a very clear beginning and I had a very clear ending. However, it's funny things happen. My characters started doing things that even I didn't expect. Wow. You know what I mean?
Cool.
So, it's wonderful. So the story took a slight turn about halfway, and I thought, oh wow, that's an even better ending. So there were twists in it for me.
Wow.
so even I didn't know where it was. So, but then of course at some point I knew how it was all going to end. But it wasn't the end that I had envisaged at the very beginning when I started writing.
So you had the plan to get you started, and then the universe kind of took over and said, right, we're taking this somewhere else.
Well, when I talk about twists, I mean, some of the twists, as I said, even I didn't expect. It's the most wonderful thing when even the twist surprises me. Because it's interesting, I had a very clear idea of my characters. I even had their photographs. I knew what they looked like. I knew their life story. But as we all humans are unpredictable, right? And so some of my characters did things and that I didn't expect.
Wow.
But of course, what that did then, when they did things that I didn't expect, then it took the story in a slightly different direction.
Yeah.
So as much as I played God and I created these characters and I had a plot in mind, very clear in mind, there were some changes even for me. That was
human life, mate. We could just decide to go left rather than right that day, and everything changes, right?
But of course, when things change, say halfway through the story, I had to go back and change the beginning slightly, because then it had to, it's like a domino effect, because things changed even at 3/4 of the way through. It meant that I had to go back and change certain things in the beginning as well. So it was a sort of an iterative process where it morphed and it changed but that was so exciting, because even I didn't know how it was. It's wonderful when that happens.
When the author himself is taken on a wild journey, that's pretty impressive, mate. I mean, it is really, that's meant for the reader, but no, when you're doing it, that's even more exciting. Would you like to read us some of it?
Well, what I'd like to do is, I was thinking of this, Jaden, but I can't read too far into the story because it may not make much sense. What I'll do, there's a prelude to the story. It's the very beginning of the book. Okay. By the way, before I even read that, I want to read you before the story starts, and I say this. This is very important to me. I say this. Okay, this is what's written. This book is dedicated to all the artists, lovers, and supporters of art throughout history. So it's a dedication to artists throughout history. Every artist, every musician, every sculptor, every painter, every writer. I'm dedicating this to them. So there, that gives you the strong premise that I was talking about.
The dedication.
Okay, here it is. Prelude.
So the whole creative collective. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to.
Okay. Also known as Maison de l'UNESCO, The imposing three-iron building at number 7 Place de Fontenoy in Paris serves as the agency's global headquarters. On a bitterly cold Friday at midnight, a white removal van pulled into the dimly lit car park and whispered to a stop outside the rear service entrance. A man and a woman emerged from the van, their breath forming ghostly puffs. Caps pulled low over their brows, their barely visible faces were fixed with a look of concentration. They wore matching uniforms of pristine white overalls, tagged with the emblem of a respected removal firm. They pulled on white gloves and retrieved a ladder from the back of the van, its aluminium frame glinting in the moonlight. The man then slung a heavy tool bag over his shoulder, and they carried the ladder to the service doors. The man pressed the intercom while his partner popped a piece of chewing gum into her mouth. A security guard at the service desk leaned towards his microphone. "Can I help you?" The man removed a piece of paper stamped with the UNESCO logo from his pocket. "We've come to collect 4 paintings," he replied into an intercom in a heavy accent. "They're being transferred to the UN International Council on Monuments and Sites at Clarenton-des-Ponts. You should have received notification." The security guard half-heartedly leafed through a stack of papers in a tray on his desk and shrugged. "There's nothing here about a transfer. May I see the document?" The man held the piece of paper against the glass door, fully aware that the guard couldn't read it from across the foyer. The guard walked to the doors and studied the pair outside. The man was the stereotypical removal person, 3-day growth and a tattoo on his neck. The woman seemed thoroughly disinterested in working this late. "Place the document in the letterbox." "It's an email sent to your boss last night," the removal van replied as he slipped the piece of paper into the opening. "He approved the transfer. Check your inbox." The guard collected the piece of paper and returned to the desk. He brought up a company email account and soon found a transfer request. A second guard joined him and examined the paperwork, printed, and checked their IDs. The first guard walked back to the double doors. "Can I see your IDs?" The removal team held their identity cards against the glass. The guard compared their names with the email and nodded. "Do you normally work this late?" "Your management insists that we don't disrupt the working day," the removal van replied. The guard opened the door and let them in. "I'll just take copies of your IDs and record your details on our system." He placed their cards on a scanner. "Which pieces are you taking?" he asked as he returned their IDs. "The Miro, a Picasso, the Clay, and the Rothko." The removal van pointed to the email. "It's all on the paperwork." "Do you know where they are?" The man flashed a disarming smile. "We installed them earlier this year." The two guards then watched the couple head along the corridor that led inside the main building. Half an hour later, the man and woman carried the 4 paintings past the guards in a small wooden crate. As the woman secured the crate in the back of the van, the man returned for the ladder and his toolbox. "Have a good night," he said to the guards as he locked the door behind him. The van then pulled out of the car park and quietly disappeared into the Parisian night. The guards returned to their posts and poured themselves a cup of coffee. The following morning, security manager Camille Bernard arrived to find the authorization letter on his desk. She read the note and frowned. During her 2 years in the job, no transfer of artwork had taken place, and she knew of no specific protocols for such an exchange. She called her counterpart in Clarendon-le-Pont, Claire Boucher. "I didn't realize you'd requested the transfer of 4 paintings." "I don't understand," Boucher replied. "I have a transfer authorization on my desk for a Miro, Picasso, Clay, and Rothko," Camille explained. "They were collected last night." "I never issued a transfer request," Boucher said quietly. The color drained from Camille's face. Could anyone else have made the request? I am the only person with the authority, Boucher snapped. Call the police! By midday, 2 detectives and a small team of forensics officers were crawling around the rear entrance of the building. The senior detective marched across the foyer, knocked on the door of the security center and entered without waiting for an answer. I want this wing closed down, and I'm going to need your CCTV for the last week. Camille nodded and barked an evacuation order into an intercom. I've already recalled the duty guards for the last night. Let me know as soon as they're here, the detective muttered. My forensics team will need access to the offices. He helped himself to a glass of water from a dispenser and walked into the corridor. How many paintings do you have in the building? Around 500, Camille replied. UNESCO curates an impressive collective of artworks with pieces of artists such as Picasso, Miro, Vasarely, among others. It stands as the most extensive artistic heritage within the United Nations. Over the years, our collection has continued to expand, the generosity of member states helping to enhance the aesthetics of our buildings. Why do you think they only took those 4? Camille shrugged. They were the smallest and most valuable. The forensics team spent several hours in the offices but turned up nothing of significance. The police did discover, however, that the email authorizing the transfer was sent from an unmonitored address at the UN International Council on Monuments and Sites. The removal team's IDs had been forged in the names of people who had died years earlier. The night shift guards were questioned for 2 hours, but their descriptions of the thieves were inconsistent, and it was impossible to match them with a database using facial recognition software on the CCTV images. Despite UNESCO trying to avoid media attention, the theft was soon all over the news. And that's the prelude to my story.
Oh my gosh, I am seeing movies. I'm seeing possible Tom Hanks there somewhere. Jaden Cornelious in the soundtrack. I mean, that's really cool, man. That is really cool. Where did it come from?
I have no idea. I must say I had to do a hell of a lot of one of the problems of a thriller. I think when I'm reading, the same thing happens. I want it to be plausible, yes. Right? Everything I've written in this book is not only plausible. UNESCO, I did hundreds of hours of research on UNESCO, what it does, where they are, all their offices, all their units around the world. The number of people they have working, the artwork they have. Wow. So everything had to be plausible and believable because, and so everything in here is, that place is actually a place. When you say Maison de l'UNESCO number 7 Place de Fontenoy in Paris is a place. That's where it is. And what I've also done is I've actually visited some of these places, believe it or not.
I was about to say, I would hope you wouldn't visit in case they think that book's written as a plot.
So, but start writing the music for the film, Jaden.
I'm on it. My first one is going to be I Nicked Your Painting. That's going to be the opening number. That was really, really cool, actually. I'm super. Has it been released? Is it due to be released? Is it already out? To be purchased? It's
already released. It's available on Amazon and a few other platforms. So if people want to get it, it's Art of Deception by Arek Sinanian. It's not a big book because it had to be a page turner. There's not a lot of description. There's not a lot of what I would call descriptive. It's very compact. It's very compact. It had to be a page turner because that's what I wanted it to be. Yep, amazing. It's all good.
And how has it been received so far?
Very well. Look, I'm getting really 5-star reviews, and I'm very, very chuffed about that because at the end of the day, as you know, as an artist, as a writer, you want an audience, and you want your audience to enjoy your work. Absolutely. I mean, of course, I enjoyed it immensely. If only one person read my book and enjoyed it, I'd be happy. But, of course, the more the better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So people at home, you've met him again. I just want to mention as well, because it's quite interesting. We were talking about the TikTok era and how people have got a 15-second memory. Go and check Arek's interview on the Jaden show. I'll put the link in this as well, because you'll find out more about this man, what he does, what he did for his profession, more about the book, and also his music as well. It's a lovely, long, meaty interview that you can get your teeth into and find out everything about this young man sitting in front of me today. So I'll put the link there as well. I suggest you go and do it, and it's really amazing. It's really lovely to know you better. It's really lovely to hear about.
I love your work, Jaden. I love what you're doing. Thank you so much for your support as well. I'm just now waiting for Spielberg to call me, okay?
Well, I would quickly get another cup of tea on and hang around for a little bit, because it's definitely, I'm seeing like kind of Da Vinci Code meets.
It is a bit Da Vinci Code-ish. Yes, you're right.
That's going to be amazing.
I take that as a compliment.
Big compliment, and yeah, absolutely. I hope they make a way better film of this book than they did of the Da Vinci Code, actually. So yes, absolutely. And come back, because I think when it eventually gets made a film, we need to be talking about this on another Jaden show before you get red carpeted in Los Angeles or Hollywood.
You'll be invited, Jaden.
Bless you, mate. I'll pack an overnight bag. You're only up the road, so that would be wonderful. Any plans for more thrillers? Any plans for more books?
Well, I'm halfway through another book. It's coming soon. Keep in tune. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll let you know.
We will do another book read for that book as soon as it's
fantastic.
in the shelves of all the good bookstores. Arek, I wish you copious amounts of success and listeners and viewers and readers with all the aspects of art that your creativity touches. Thank you so much for being amazing.
Thank you, Jaden. All the best to you. Take care.
Thank you for being on my show. People at home, you will have seen on the title page of this interview where you can buy the book from. I'm going to be buying all my authors' books. When I get a little office and library, my plan is to have every author's book that has ever been on the book show in my little library. So people at home, I suggest you do the same. Is it available on Kindle? Just asking.
Yes, it is.
So Kindle is always good, but there's nothing better than a real.
And on Kindle, it's the price of a coffee, Jaden. So go for it. Yeah, cheap.
People at home, but you do need a physical version. The smell of the pages, the turning up the page of a book.
Admit, I do enjoy reading a book.
It needs to be physical. I mean, Kindles are great, but you do need the physical. The feeling of turning that page over for the first time any human has ever touched that page is amazing. People at home, you know where to get it. Follow the links in the titles of this episode. Arek, thank you so much. We are definitely continuing to stay in touch. Many blessings to you, and I'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you. All the best, Jaden. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Arek, thank you so much for being a fantabulous author on today's book read. People at home, definitely go and follow the links in the title page of this show so you can find out where to buy Arek's thriller. It's called The Art of Deception, and it's available on the links in this title page of this show. Make sure you get it. Make sure it's on order. Great gift as well for other people. We have got Christmas coming up in 5 months' time, so you need to start making plans now. An amazing. Go and please follow him on his social media. You'll see a list of everywhere where you can find Arek and support him on his journey. You take care. I will see you in episode 18. Stay beautiful. Ta-ra for now. Bye-bye.